Hi, and welcome to the news headlines at this hour. The Pentagon's upcoming recommendation for a future Navy is expected to call for a significant increase in the number of ships, with officials discussing a fleet as large as 530 hulls, according to documents obtained by Defense News. Supporting documents to the forthcoming Future Navy Forces study reviewed by Defense News shows the Navy moving towards a lighter force with many more ships, but fewer aircraft carriers and large surface combatants. Instead, the fleet would include more small surface combatants, unmanned ships, and submarines, and an expanded logistics force. Two groups commissioned by the Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, to design what a future Navy should look like, suggested fleets of anywhere from 480 to 534 ships when manned and unmanned platforms are accounted for. At least a 35% increase in fleet size from the current target of 355 manned ships by 2030. As China and the United States feuded at the United Nations this week over COVID-19 and climate, one of the world's smallest states pleaded for detente. Micronesia asked our American and Chinese friends to reinforce their cooperation and friendship with each other to achieve what is best for our global community. The Federated States of Micronesia President David Panuelos told the UN General Assembly in a video address. Greece's government has cautiously welcomed a plan from Brussels to reform the EU's shaky asylum system, but charity groups working with refugees on the ground have blasted a continued outrageous containment policy. The new pact on migration and asylum was unveiled on Wednesday and calls for a tougher stance on returning migrants who do not have the rights to stay in the EU and ratcheting up borders control. Such moves are music to the ears of Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis' conservative government, which has been operating a harsh migration policy since taking power over a year ago. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed told the United Nations on Friday that his country has no intentions of harming Sudan and Egypt, with a giant hydropower dam on the Blue Nile that has caused a bitter water dispute between the three countries. Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan failed to strike a deal on the operation of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam before Ethiopia began filling the reservoir behind the dam in July. But the three states have returned to African Union-led mediation. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Sunday that Belarus leader Alexander Lukashenko must step down after the EU refused to recognize him as a legitimate president of the ex-Soviet country. It is clear he has to go, Macron told French weekly the journal Du Dimanche ahead of a trip to EU states Lithuania and Latvia, which borders Belarus. It is a crisis of power, an authoritarian power that cannot accept the logic of democracy and which is hanging on by force. It is clear that Lukashenko has to go. Tens of thousands of people have taken to the streets in Belarus since August 9 election, which opposition leader Svetlana won despite Lukashenko's insistence he took a landslide victory. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan on Friday condemned the fresh publication of cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad by a French satirical weekly, urging UN efforts against what he called rising Islamophobia. Addressing the UN General Assembly in a pre-recorded message, Khan said that rising global nationalism has accentuated Islamophobia and said that Muslims continue to be targeted with impunity in many countries. Incidents in Europe, including republication of blasphemous sketches by Charlie Hebdo, are recent examples, Khan said. This is Jyoti reporting for Our Voice.